We've reached a turning point in the Amateur Hour series where we can start building on the stuff that we've learned before. And I want to inaugurate it not just with the A-flat prelude, but also with this sweet new camera angle. Now this prelude is very, very tightly constructed. It's I don't know, logical, mathematical. These are adjectives that I've often heard being used to describe Bach. It's not really my Bach. The hill that I'm going to die on is that Bach's primary strength was and always has been aesthetic and rhythm, just this dance-like pulse that permeates absolutely everything he's ever done. But the reverence with which people discuss Bach and talk about him, again, so logical, so mathematical in his compositions, is not incorrect. He was a very good composer, and we can really geek out, which is what I want to do today, geek out together on just how cool everything is tightly composed and knit together in this piece. I want to do this mostly for people who are just listeners, so you don't have to play the piano or play this piece. It might help to appreciate it more and just kind of get into it a bit more if you can see some of the interesting stuff that Bach does over here. But of course, for pianists, anybody who wants to play this piece, to actually learn it, it also helps as well to see the way that it's composed and have like a big picture of it. So on that note, I will every now and then talk about a little practice thing or some harmony, but just a bit. So don't worry about it if 2-5-1s are over your head. It's okay. Good. Let's dive into it. Just fresh off the heels of the previous episode, the first thing anyone, both listener and player, should do when listening to a prelude, I think, is really lock into the rhythmic fragment, the theme of the prelude, as we've discussed about many times and really drove that point home in the previous episode. So in this prelude, the idea that the building block that Bach builds on, we heard it right at the beginning. Is this, I don't know what adjectives fail me here again, kind of light, sprightly, rhythmic pulse. As with almost all of the preludes, this theme, this rhythmic fragment, gets introduced at the beginning and permeates the whole piece. There's, I think, only 3, maybe 4 measures in this entire piece that doesn't prominently have this idea in it. So if there's one thing that I think might help you, might improve your enjoyment of this piece, is lock into this fragment, this theme, and see if you can see all the different places that Bach takes us with it. With that out of the way, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Let's see the piece. Let's take a look at it. First of all, I'm going to show you the sheet music. Forget the notes. It's another hill I'm going to die on. Notes are not important. Too much reverence for sheet music, but it is very useful, of course. So let's ignore the notes for a second and just take a look at this piece as a whole. Kind of in the way, I think with Jimi Hendrix for Hey Joe, there's it's not sheet music, but he wrote it out in like sections just so he could kind of like remember, oh, this is the A section, it has these chords in it, the B section, solo, etc., etc. Let's do the same over here and see the way that this piece is constructed. So, let's start with, I call it the A section. The A section is just what we played. It really introduces the piece. It introduces this rhythmic fragment. Boom. After the A section, we have what I call like a glue section. I call it little a, that brings us into the B section. And then we have the B section, which has, it's just amazing. It has this great just wonderful, wonderful resolutions. And now after the A, little a, B section, we see this again. And this is one of the cool things about this piece. Nothing happens in this piece without like a mirror image of that thing happening again, either in the same section or somewhere later on. So here we see the A section again, but it's like reversed. It's if something happened in the right hand, and then the theme moves to the left. In this A prime section, the mirror section, it's inverse. The theme starts in the left, and then moves to the right. Very cool. We'll dig into this a lot more, this mirroring that happens both at a whole, like we have an A section and then an A prime section, and also the mirroring that happens within each individual section. So anyways, after the A prime section, I'm really showing my, my computer science roots. I think this prime stuff I saw in discrete mathematics to refer to something that's a little similar but a little different, like a mirror image version of something. So after the A prime section, we have, of course, a little a prime section, another glue section, and then we go to the mirror image of the B section, B prime. And again, same sort of idea. It's almost like the hands get reversed. In the first B section, we see it one way, and in the second B section, we see it reversed. We'll dig into that once we get to it. And then finally, we have a C section, kind of like an outro, that ends us with this beautiful resolution. So this is it at a whole. Cue into these mirror sections. See if you can hear how something happens early in the piece and then later on happens in a reverse way. Let's go through it section by section and dig into it a bit more. Okay, the A section, as I said, introduces us to the theme. You see how first we have this theme in the right hand, and then right afterwards we move it to the left hand. Same notes, it's just a little lower. And not just that, but the accompaniment is a little different. So at the beginning, when we first hear the theme 2 times, the accompaniment is just like a declarative chord. Bum, bum. The second time around, Bach gives us an accompaniment that has a very cool rhythm that's going to show up throughout the whole piece. It's like a bum, bum, ba bum, ba bum. So it's like 1, 2, 3, ba bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Let's hear it. First, we have the declarative accompaniment. Bum, bum. Very interesting. I already love this rhythm, this pulse. It's very dance-like. I want to emphasize something again. As much as cool as it is to geek out and see the composition of this piece and how tightly constructed it is, that's not why I like it. When I play this piece or listen to it, what I react to is just the joyful dance elements of it. And some of the most beautiful, beautiful resolutions in Bach. Very, very powerful. All right. I'll try to refrain myself from mentioning the dance stuff way too much, but I will do it again. All right. Let's just jump ahead to the A prime section to see how this mirroring happens. So when we come back to it, as I said, we start with the left hand and then move to the right hand. So, and then the right. And the accompaniment is a bit different as well. We see that we start with this, the first time around, we have this cool boom, bum rhythm. Whoops. And then the second time around, Bach gives us this very Baroque accompaniment. It happens a lot. I wish I could remember some of the other pieces I've seen this in. So putting it together, it sounds like this. Again, compare it to the beginning. Notice how in the beginning, we start with the right hand and move to the left hand. Little A section. This is the glue. Oh, sorry. Quick thing for the pianists among you. Notice how in the A prime section, when we see this a second time, we've already switched keys. The astute listeners among you and musicians probably will have noticed that they sound a little different. This is different than do-do-do-do-do-do. It's in a different key. So really briefly, in the A prime section, we've switched keys to the dominant of A flat. So we're in A flat, we start hearing the theme in A flat major. The second time around in A prime, we've already moved to the dominant, the fifth of A flat, which is E flat. So we hear the theme in E flat. Okay, the little A section, the glue, this one does not have much of a mirroring, which is okay. It goes like this. I just want to point out the harmony here for the pianists among you. So the first time we have little A, the glue, it's excuse me. This is a very basic chord progression. We're in the key of A flat, so we have our 1 chord, that's A flat, 6 chord, that's F minor, 2, 5, 1. Very, very basic. Millions of songs with this chord progression. I do want to point out, notice again how this rhythmic fragment, the prelude fragment, is all throughout. And actually, I lied a little bit. There is a bit of mirroring going on over here. You can see it, if we look at the written note, you can see how the accompaniment in the first bar has this rhythm, this bum, 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 bum. And then the accompaniment in the next measure is just note, note. And then in the third measure, it's like the first. Bum, 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 bum. And then in the fourth measure, it's like in the second. Dun, dun. So it's like the first time around, he does it one way, and then the second time around, he does it again. It's just a little bit different. We've changed the chords a little bit. But the rhythm, the feel of it is the same. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. So there is a little bit of mirroring going on within this one section. Jumping ahead again to the little A prime section, the second time around. This time he does something a little different. He, with again a little bit of mirroring. It goes like this. Notice how there were kind of two things there, and the first time around, so okay, there's two things going on. There's the prelude fragment, the theme, and then there's this this descending thirds thing. The first time around, we have the right hand playing the theme, while the left hand has this descending third stuff. The second time around, we switch the hands. The right hand has these descending thirds, while the left hand has the theme. Left hand, right hand doesn't matter very much. Really what matters is actually that the first time around we hear the theme above the accompaniment. And the second time around, the theme is below the accompaniment. Very fun, very fun. I do want to say for the pianists among you, these descending thirds This is a pattern that we see a lot in classical music. I would suggest taking this and playing around with it in every key. It's not that hard. So if we're in the key of A flat, we start on the fourth note, D flat, and just keep going down in thirds. You see that? Just a bunch of thirds. Do that with every key, left hand, right hand. So if we're in the key, let's pick an easy one. If we're in the key of D major, start on the fourth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do the same thing. It's a good thing to have under your fingers. Okay, the B section, so beautiful. The B section I split up into three, B1, B2, B3. In B1, what we have is, here we see that the theme is repeated and it moves down. So it's do 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 do. You see, we've moved down. And then in B2, we climb back up. Again, putting it together, we see how the theme goes down, 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 and then climbs back up. And then back up. And then in the B3 section, we have this wonderful resolution. In the B prime section, it's the same thing, except the theme is now in the right hand. We're falling down. And then going back up. And then a resolution. Again, a mirror image, very interesting. The accompaniment is also pretty, it has the same sort of thing where we, in like the B1 section, the accompaniment falls down along with the theme. Same shape, do 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 do. You see, same shape, it just goes down. Same thing with in the B prime section. You hear it's kind of the same. Quick note for the pianists. This accompaniment is quite difficult. It's very cramped. Your hand is really quite cramped over here. You need a lot of dexterity, like a 5-finger dexterity, in very cramped spaces. There's not much of a tip I can give you other than practice this the way it's written, like a 5-finger exercise, like this. Of course, very slowly, pay attention to every single note, make sure everything is nice and even. Again, same thing with the left hand in the B prime section. The B prime section is also a little extra difficult, extra spicy, because we have this span between the 5th finger and the 4th finger. Which just puts your hand in kind of a weird position. So it's like cramped up here, but you have this space over here. Difficult. I also want to point out one more thing, especially in the left hand in the B prime section. Be careful about fingering. You want to try to avoid jumping around with the thumb way too much. Actually, let me show you in this section over here, in the first B section with the right hand. Notice that my fingering allows me to keep my thumb pretty much in one place. You see, it doesn't move around too much. Consider that with the fingering that I used to do before I was aware of this. Whoops, do, do, doom. You see how much I had to move my thumb? Okay. It's better to stretch your hand a little bit so you can reach these notes, so that you don't have to move your thumb this much. It's very it's not that moving your thumb is that hard, but it's like a bit of a roadblock, especially if you have to move your thumb out of the key bed, into the key bed, out of the key bed, into the key bed. And you have these obstacles of these black keys. It's one thing to move like this. It's another to have to like really lift your thumb so that you don't hit it against other black keys. It's the same sort of idea in the left hand here. I use this fingering. Okay, let's start from here. So far, so good, very normal. Okay, here, I take this D flat with a 4, and I move like this, and I reach this high note with this 2, with my pointer finger, so that I can keep my thumb over here. I don't have to, see, move my thumb too much. If I go like this, you see how my thumb was always able to stay over here. It didn't have to play these gymnastics of going from here to here, here to here. A very important point, especially when you're playing much faster. In other pieces, it's even more important. Okay, let's move on. That was a big, took a little longer than I expected. Well, what else did I want to say to finish with this B section? Yeah, in the B2 section, we have this cool pattern. And in the B prime section, again, is just in a meter. We have the same thing in the left hand. Same thing is just in the left hand, it's lower. And in the B3 section, this is the resolution There's not a lot of mirroring going on. So the B3 section and the B3 prime section, they're not really mirrors of each other, but they're both resolutions. They serve kind of the same purpose. Finally, in the C section, the outro, this C section stands alone. There's no mirror to it, but you can kind of break it down into parts and see how once again, when something happens, it's going to happen again a little bit different. So, for example, same thing happens again. Down to the left hand as well. Oh, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 1. And it gets repeated. Putting it together, notice how the same thing gets repeated, is just in a different key. Repeat. In the next section, we have this very cool two bars. Again, in the first bar, we introduce this idea, and then we repeat it a bit higher up. Notice how this descending, this descent with the pedal point, this note that gets repeated, we saw it in the B section as well. so the same thing that we saw earlier shows up once again later on. That's something that Bach does quite a lot. Actually, a lot of composers do that. It's just a neat composing trick. A quick note for the pianists: this pattern, this idea of having a pedal point and then falling down or going back up in the notes of a key while repeating this pedal point. This shows up quite often, and it's a very good exercise, a very good way of making sure of forcing yourself to have a pinky that's not too loud. And depending on the key, if you have a key like this one where you have to jump around, you get used to moving your hand through different hand positions. So I suggest going through all the keys, and so let's pick a different key, D major. See, I'm starting on D. And now do it starting on E. Same notes. I mean, these are the notes from the D major scale. And just keep moving up. Make sure that in this case it's the thumb, that pedal point, that note that gets repeated, is not too loud. Whoops. Try to give a shape to the notes from the scale. And do that with the right hand as well. Nice little etude, and this is going to show up in some other pieces as well, this descending notes, these descending notes when you have a pedal point. I don't think it's repeated. Finally, we have another a repetition. See, same thing, it just happens twice a little bit differently. And then an outro. Very, very, very classy. I'll point out to the pianists of you here in the Slack session that we just played, it's another 1 chord, 6 chord, 2 chord, 5 chord to the 1. So 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, just like we saw at the beginning. Okay, that was it. Was that cool? I think it's very cool. Again, I do like geeking out to this stuff. It is true that Bach does have a lot of cool compositions, and if you study them, you can see these. You can see the logic behind it. And it's fun to look into it, fun to geek out on it. It helps you memorize the piece, it helps you play it, and I think it also helps you interpret it a little bit better because you can see the whole structure. You're not just going measure by measure and playing blindly. You're thinking about the way the piece is structured as a whole, and you can interpret things differently, knowing, for example, oh, I'm going to repeat this A section later on. I'm going to repeat this B section later on. Oh, the C section just stands by itself as the outro. But I'm going to say it one last time. The reason I love this piece, and I think the reason people would resonate with it, is not because of the logic behind the composition, and as cool as that is. It's the... You don't need to have a PhD in music theory or to be a musician to enjoy music. You either like it or you don't. It's just... It either does something for you, the aesthetics of it are beautiful, or not. I always, I don't know, I have a weird reaction whenever I hear people say, oh, I don't really understand music, maybe you would know if this is a good piece or not. No, you know very well. Listen to it. You either like it or you don't. Knowing stuff about a genre or the social context, I mean, that might help you, I don't know, might give you a different insight into it. Again, music does not exist without some social context, but there's really not much more to it beyond you either have a good reaction to it or you don't. If you have a better reaction to this piece now that you know the way that it's written out, I mean, maybe it helped you a little bit to, I don't know, maybe appreciate it, but I think it would appreciate it more on a logical level. On a very more emotional core lizard brain level, I don't think much has changed. You either dig this pulse, it either makes you want to dance or not. And I hope you do enjoy it. All right, let's take a sip of coffee and play the piece. All right.